Okay, so for the record, my wife is smarter than me. So, and she will admit it too. There is the ultimate electrical guru. Here is not the ultimate electrical guru. She can troubleshoot like nobody's business. Isn't that true?
Yes.
You solved my problem, didn't you?
I'm queen.
You are definitely queen.
Queen wife.
Queen wife, and queen electrical chick.
That's right.
Guys, been a long time since I've done one of these updates. What I've done is I've actually called the DAR to schedule my inspection, and he told me that I need to make sure that I have my registration handled. So I sent my paperwork in, all ready to go. Got home from work yesterday, and what did I see? A letter from the FAA. I'm stoked. I'm like, I got it. I can call the DAR. I'm going to be ready to go. Yeah, I missed something. I didn't have the serial number on for my engine and the affidavit of ownership, so I had to send that back. Filled the paperwork out, sent it back. So now I got back out to the hangar, and one of the things I hadn't done yet is I hadn't put power to my comm. I've got the FL760 Flightline radio. It's pretty nice, real compact. I had taken and wired up the D-sub connector for it, but I've never connected it to the power of the airplane. So last night, that's what I did. I came out here, I pulled the power distribution panel out, pulled the EFIS out, and I started working on it. Connected it, went and turned the master on. Of course, I'm just looking at the back of the power distribution panel. Turned the master on, and I went over, turned the radio on. I got nothing. So I'm like, uh-oh. Pulled it apart, double-checked my wiring. Everything's good. I'm like, it still don't work. I checked it. I've got voltage, but it's a low voltage. And for the first 20 years of my life, I was an electrical guy. And so I like to think I'm relatively intelligent when it comes to electrical issues. So I started playing, double-checked the D-sub, checked for shorts, turned it on, and I had voltage. I had a weird number, but I had like 9 volts at the power distribution panel. Soon as I put a load on it, it went down to nothing. I could not figure out what the hell was going on. So, anyhow, I left frustrated. I went in the house thinking I blew up my 760 radio. I did some research. There's a fusible link inside the radio, 10 amp, and if you screw something up, you blow that up. You got to take the radio apart, solder a new one in, or send it to a authorized repair station. I'm mad as hell. So now here's the key. So I had the power distribution panel pulled out so I could make the connection, so I wasn't looking at the front of the power distribution panel. I checked my voltage. Same thing happened. It was really odd. I get a little flash out of the radio. The LED lights up for a second, then it goes away. What the hell's going on? So as soon as that happens, I double check. I've got down to like 6 volts down on the power distribution panel. I can't figure out what the hell's going on. So I realize I clearly have not burned up my my radio, otherwise it wouldn't flash. So that fusible link's got to be good. So what the hell could it be? So she comes out and she knows everything. You know how women are. Turns out she does.
I'm queen.
Up taking and moving that to a different portion of the power distribution panel. I moved it over to the, I think I put it on the trim or something like that. I can't tell you what. Did that, radio came on. I'm like, what the hell? So now I grab my meter and I want to see what kind of current I'm drawing. The trim has a 5 amp circuit breaker, and the radio comms has a 3 amp circuit breaker. So I'm like, there's no way. I'm not tripping the circuit breaker, so there's no way I'm drawing that much current, but I'm going to check it. So I had the wife come out and help me. I put my meter on the leads through the amp meter and put it on the terminal to see what I'm drawing. I'm drawing maybe 200 milliamps, something like that. Nothing. Radio's on. Everything's happy. I'm like, what the hell could be going on? The power distribution panel must be bad. So I got no idea, and my wife starts talking, and I'm like, and my wife is the smartest woman I know when it comes to anything medical. She's a nurse. She can quote the CDC. She can quote how many milliliters of blah, blah, blah to make this better. She's a very smart woman. But when it comes to electrical stuff, she's like, well, is it plugged in? It's like talking to tech support, which is because it's not what she does. So I'm talking to tech support. How about this? And I said, well, and then she asked me, and I'm appeasing because I'm like, but I'm frustrated because I can't figure out why it's not working. I bought this power distribution panel a while ago, so it's not under warranty anymore. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to replace it and blah, 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 blah. So my wife is helping me. She says, okay, well, do you have it on? I'm like, yeah, it's on. She says, okay. I said, you saw the little flash of light. She says, yeah. And I'm like, okay, and I'm getting a little irritated, to be honest with you. And she goes, well, what about this radio master switch? Is that supposed to be on? I just stare at her, and I'm like, what did you say?
I'm queen.
She says, the radio master switch. And I'm speechless. I can't say a word. For the first time in my life, I'm speechless. I just sit there and stare at her. And she goes, well, does that have anything to do with it? And I just go, I am such an idiot. I reconnect everything. I said, can you do me a favor and turn on the master switch for the radio? She turns it on. Sure as shit. The frickin' radio comes on. I'm like, thank you, sweetheart. Did I mention I love you? She's like, is it fixed? Like, son of a bitch. So it took me, who's an electrical engineer, I can design things, I can troubleshoot things. It took my nurse wife, who has no idea what electrical is, to figure out what was wrong with my radio. Now, here's my defense. My defense is I was only looking at the back of the power distribution block because I was, connecting stuff. And I was reaching around front of it and hitting the master switch. Not the radio master, just the master. So, the key here is when you have to troubleshoot something, start with the basics. Number one, go with, is it effing turned on? Have a good day. So, I'm driving along and I'm thinking, you know what? I need to do a public service announcement about wives. So some people go, well, my wife's not as nearly as smart as me. I'm the man, blah, 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 blah. You know what? My wife is not only smart, but she's beautiful. So here's the deal. My wife, who is a nurse, has no concept of electrical, and I mean none, was able to take and make the guy who has been an electrical engineer for 25 years, designed industrial control panels for automation, gone out in the field, installed, started up, debug, troubleshoot, program, all of this. She was able to make me look foolish in about 45 seconds on the debug of my radios. And because of that, I will, for the next 30 days, call her my wife queen or my queen wife.